I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be Freedom is the Key to Love and Attraction. Well, today happens to be the 4th of July, which is the celebration of our independence. So in honor of that, I've got a quote that I'd like to share. And I've got a guy who is doing some things with a girl that he's dating that are creating problems. Before I get into his email, I'm going to go through this quote. It says, "When we seek to control another person, we are really doing so out of our own desire to gain structure and certainty about ourselves. It is simply a projection of our own feelings of inadequacy and lack onto another person. If they do what we want, we feel secure in ourselves. If they don't, it simply reminds us of how out of control and insecure we feel about ourselves. The true path to love and successful relationships is freedom. When we feel free to love and accept ourselves, we feel free to love another as they are without trying to change them or make them into what we think they should be. True love is about two complete people sharing their completeness, not completing each other." And so I've got a real short email here from a guy who's basically creating problems in his relationship because his girlfriend is not acting or being or doing the kinds of things that he thinks she should be doing. And as I was reading this guy's email, it reminded me, when I look back on my life over the past 25 or so years of my adult life, it's just shocking to me how much time has passed, and it seems like a blink of an eye. But when I look at the relationships, the friendships that I've had, the women that I've dated, my marriage that I had when I was in my 20s, the girlfriends that I've had over the years, and as I've evolved as a person, and it started me thinking about a guy I used to be in business with for a lot of years, and looking at how he tries to keep everybody under his thumb, in essence. Not only myself and my other business partner, but everybody in his life, his family, his kids, and whenever people in his life would not do what he expected them to do, he came unglued. He became a raging asshole, basically. And that was part of where I got to in my life years ago. I just got tired of his bullshit. I got tired of putting up with it. I got tired of having to apologize for things or offenses that I had done that I didn't even know I was doing to offend him, just because I was expressing myself and I was being myself, and his own version of the world was not compatible with that. And I look at the upbringing that he had. His father was he won the Silver Star during World War II. And it really fucked him up emotionally with PTSD when he came back. He really didn't know how to deal with it. And so he drank a lot, and so did his wife. And so this former business partner of mine, when he was growing up, when he was a kid, it was pretty much a nightly occurrence to watch his mom and dad get drunk. They would get into an argument, and they would literally start beating the shit out of each other to the point where both of them were bloody. The police would come, they'd take his father off to jail, and then they would bring him back in the morning when he had sobered up. And so it's like when you see somebody grow up in that kind of environment where it's just everything is like totally out of control, how it affects them throughout his whole life is he sought to control everyone in his life, even his wife. I remember, and they had a pretty great relationship, but whenever she would do things that bothered him, he'd become angry, he'd become nasty, he'd become condescending, he would yell at her. Kind of the same shit that he would do with myself and my other business partner. There were three of us in a business partnership. And we used to joke that he was either pissed off at me, he was pissed off at my other partner, or pissed off at both of us, but very rarely were both of us on his good graces all the time. And after, a lot of years of being in business with a guy like that, you just get to a point, like for me personally, I was just tired of it. I was tired of bullshit. I was tired of dealing with his own insecurities and his own problems when I would express myself, when I would be who I was. And I remember 4 or 5 months ago, we had a conversation, and he doesn't like how I'm real and I tell it like it is in my videos, and he felt that I needed to modify who I was and be different. And I just basically told him, there's absolutely no fucking way in hell I'm going to change who I am so you don't feel uncomfortable. It's like, you got to fucking let it go. And I told him that in no uncertain terms, and obviously he didn't like it, and he didn't take it too well. But it's just interesting when I look back at the relationships or the business partnerships or even friendships that I had 10, 15, 20 years ago, is I had a lot of people in my life where I was constantly taking who I was and kind of stuffing it down within inside me in order to get the approval of other people or to make the people in my life not feel uncomfortable with who I was. But once I got to the place where I was comfortable being who I was and not giving a damn how other people perceive that, the real people that really care about you and love you and honor you as who you are still going to love you and accept you the way you are. But other people, when they'd say things like, I don't know who you are anymore, it's because you're no longer meeting their vision of who they think you should be. And part of self-realization and becoming comfortable in your own skin is learning to love and accept yourself. And sometimes you got to push people out of your life that don't accept you for who you are. And that may mean ending business partnerships, or ending friendships, or ending intimate relationships, or changing careers, or even moving, just to get away from toxic people who just have not accepted themselves. Because when you have people that don't accept and love themselves unconditionally in your life, they're going to have a problem with you being who you are. Because when you become so connected to who you are and you love and you accept yourself unconditionally, people in your life that are not at that same place, they're not going to do well with it. And they're going to seek to stuff you back down or pull you back down to their level, in essence. And it's really hard. It's difficult sometimes, especially when somebody's been in your life and you're really close to them and you realize who you really are and who you want to be, and you have to just let them go. Love them, but sometimes loving yourself means pushing toxic people out of your life. So let's look at this guy's email. He says, "Hey coach, I don't have an issue picking up women," type of question. "I'm more interested in keeping a woman." And listen to what he says. He says, "Especially if she has tendencies to do things she knows bother you, like the wearing of inappropriate attire to work. She has said she wouldn't put herself or our relationship in a bad light where there could be potential problems, yet she continues to wear clothing that reveals a little too much. All that tells me, dude, is you're insecure about yourself and you fear losing that girl to another person. If she's beautiful and she's sexy and she wants to show that off by wearing beautiful clothes that accent her figure, it's really none of your fucking business. If you want to date somebody who has the same narrow-minded view of the world, obviously this girl that you're dating is not the right girl for you. You need to be in a relationship with somebody that's ultra-conservative and has the same views on covering up her body that you do. And this woman is obviously trying to express herself, and you're trying to take away her freedom, because it's not really that you have a problem with who she is, it's you have a problem with who you are. You don't love and accept yourself unconditionally, and therefore you're seeking to control her, just like this former business partner of mine tries to control everybody and keep everybody under his thumb, so to speak, in his life. And this particular business partner of mine, he creates a lot of problems in his family because there's lots of members of his family that don't want anything to do with him because they got tired of his bullshit. They got tired of trying to be nice to gain his acceptance, because it seemed like no matter what they did, even when they thought they were doing what he wanted, they still pissed him off. And eventually they got tired of it. And this girlfriend of yours, eventually she's going to get tired of your bullshit and she's going to leave you. He says she knows and has said that she knows it catches people's eye and that's why she wears it. She likes the attention because obviously these other people are not telling her she should dress differently or be differently. They love her and they accept her for who she is, and they appreciate that. They admire that. But obviously you don't. He says, even though she has made the statement above, it's kind of confusing. I don't want to fight with her. However, I stand on my morals and ethics. Well, those are your morals and ethics. Obviously, she doesn't share the same goals and same values. And from that perspective, the two of you are absolutely incompatible. He says, I'm not a pushover by a long shot, so at times I make subtle hints and sometimes I'm just blunt about it. Any answer would be appreciated. You got a choice, dude. If you want this relationship to work, you got to love and accept the fact that your girlfriend is beautiful and attractive and likes to dress that way. That's just the way women are naturally. And women all over the world, even in ultra-conservative societies, they don't like being oppressed any more than you would want somebody to be sticking their finger in your eye and telling you how you need to live and how you need to be. If she's not already like this, you can't make her into what you think she should be. Your only choice is to love and accept her the way she is, or in the relationship and go find someone who has the same narrow-minded, shallow values and ways of being. And at the end of the day, you're just acting this way because other people gave these beliefs to you and you were silly enough to believe them that it was the correct way of living. And you're just projecting your own feelings of inadequacy and insecurity onto your girlfriend, and you're making her miserable, and obviously you're making yourself miserable in the process. So your only choice, you can either love and accept her the way she is and embrace who she is, or in the relationship and go find somebody whose goals and whose moral values are more aligned with yours. So if you have a question or a challenge or a situation that you'd like to get my help with personally on, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.